Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
I kind of keep going. My mind keeps going back to that story about a 15-year-old
that's insane.
Was just in the stands, no uniform, no shoes, nothing like that, and becomes the best player in a doubleheader for the team.
Could you imagine that happening these days? I mean, it couldn't. It could happen. If you have anyone that's got that kind of talent, they're already all over social media. I mean, with how ubiquitous phones and information sharing has become, it kind of reminds me of the Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Doc Graham, right? Young kid, but he's like just doesn't he decides to become a doctor. He just isn't there. But yeah, that's a great thing. Elmer Flick. I mean, it's weird because I grew up in Solon, so right next to Bedford.
Yeah.
And until I met Jim, and he was talking about doing the video, kind of like the story of Elmer Flick and stuff like that. And I'm like, who is that? Like, I have no idea. And we've come down here over the past couple of years because LPV does work with the city of Bedford, and it's funny because Jim does not own any part of LPV, but everyone in Bedford thinks that it's his company because I was just keeping it going. I'm in Bedford, so I got to mention it. He seems to be the face of the company around here because he's very involved with the community.
The more eyes that get on this event, and hopefully making it an annual event, and kind of telling the story of Elmer Flick every single year, because you hear like what Jim was saying, you hear the stories of Nap Lajoie, you hear the stories of all the players that have kind of come through Cleveland, but one of the more unique stories I've ever heard kind of gets thrown by the wayside, or not thrown by the wayside, but just overlooked.
Yeah.
And it's good to shed a light on that to really understand where baseball has come from in this town. Yes, the baseball team professionally has gone by different names, and it took 106 years for a different name to be needed and to happen. But there were many other elements and years of Cleveland baseball that have added to the history of what Cleveland baseball has become today.
And we all love, the hometown guy, right? So
yes,
it's a great story. Definitely.
Yes, there was some hometown guy that ended a streak here, or a drought of championships.
Right.
He may
a
have
couple years ago.
He played somewhat of a role in that, and people loved it because he was from here. So, but no, I mean, he's one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah. So. Hometown hero is,
it's a big thing.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
And I mean, just in like a small town like this, I mean, hometown heroes take on so many different forms too. I know that so many different communities have put up those throughout, from like Memorial Day through Veterans Day, those banners to honor those that have been in service, whether they've lost their lives or are currently in service, and banners with pictures of them for their community. Like, hometown heroes just means so many different things, but in a sports town like Cleveland, if you're a hometown hero, your story should be known. And I'm glad to see, I'm glad I'm being educated this weekend, just like so many other people, of Elmer Flick.